What is going on, friends, and welcome back to the Minecraft Hub channel. So today we are doing another episode of Hermitcraft megabases, and it's one we've actually already done before, but we didn't do a commentary throughout and people seem to like that. So we're going to take another look at Mumbo Jumbo's bases throughout all the Hermitcraft seasons. If you enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and check out all the other Hermitcraft evolution videos we've done, and we have a lot of other content on the channel, so be sure to check it out. So starting off, Mumbo Jumbo actually joined Hermitcraft all the way back in season 2, and he had a pretty cool little base. Obviously it's on a much smaller scale than anything the Hermits are doing now, but back in season 2 this was, peak Minecraft building. He had a nice little right outside a jungle next to the river design, and I really like this bridge and the circular base design that he kind of had. It's not even exactly one base, it's kind of like a very small city that he's kind of built here, a bunch of different buildings for everything that he needs, but it does look very cool and definitely a great place for him to start. It's interesting that 5 seasons later he's back in a jungle base and building something crazy and different. Now we have his season 3 base, which at the time was a huge build, especially with all the ice and everything that we have here. It's a very cool build. It looks like he's even using iron blocks in the middle, probably from Tengotech's iron farm. So this was a very interesting build, and unfortunately we don't get to see a whole lot of it, but it was, very cool and very innovative. He had to clear out all this water right here, which is a mission in itself. And then he had this really nice block palette on the inside with birchwood, sandstone, smooth stone, and the aqua lights. I think that block palette actually looks insanely good together. It's a lot of light colors and not something you see very often, especially since sandstone and ice aren't usually very close together. So Mumbo talked a lot about how he always builds his bases on the ground and a lot of times in the ground. So in season 4 he wanted to switch it up and build a base in the sky. So he actually did that. All his farms and stuff are of course still on the ground. They have a cool glass layer on top and they look very good. But he did build his season 4 base way up in the sky and it looks very cool. This base was, I believe, called the Drone, and it resembles that greatly. Mumbo was never really known throughout Hermitcraft as a builder. He always did, a lot of redstone work, and he did these big builds, and I always enjoyed Mumbo's builds. They're not as detailed as, say, somebody as, Scar, Iskal, some of the other guys on the Hermitcraft server, but he has done large-scale, very cool builds, and I've always appreciated that. There's of course this giant ice tower down at the bottom, and then as you can see he keeps turning around. There are the farms down below where he kept just every type of farm that you could possibly imagine. Building in the sky is never easy, and especially when you're doing massive projects like this with huge circles. So I definitely have a lot of respect for this build, even though it's not as crazy as some of the other things he's done throughout the seasons and may not look as cool as those builds. And here you can see the farms. He's got melon farms, he's got sugarcane, he's got just everything you can imagine down here. He was basically set up to sell everything. And you can see his giant storage room for it all right there, the cactus farm. So as you can see, this is where Mumbo comes into play with all his redstone and those type of skills. Here we have his season 5 base, and his season 5 base I think is a very cool design, especially that center, how it kind of curves out and everything. That's a very hard look to do in Minecraft, but he managed to do it. The only problem that he even stated with this base is the amount of space he actually had within these giant diamonds. So with these diamonds he wanted to put his farms in them, of course, and you can see he's got just every type of farm. Again, that's just what Mumbo does, but he was very limited on space with this design, and so he didn't actually really end up liking this base. It does look very cool though if you do a world tour of this world or if you're just seeing it, and I really do like the design, although it's not a very practical design as a whole. The block palette for this base was obviously just basically anything you can get from a guardian farm. This is a great way to do water builds or builds in general if you have a guardian farm available, because it basically gives you all the materials you need to do everything you want with the base. I'm not too sure what those white blocks are, possibly white concrete, but it does look very good when paired with all the blue prismarine blocks. And you can see this is the complete aerial view, and you can just see how massive that base actually is. Season 6, probably my favorite base that he's done in the Hermitcraft seasons. He has this massive storage room in the middle and the different biomes in every quadrant of the sphere. I really like this base design. I like the different biomes. I think that's one of the coolest parts of it. It gives you opportunities to have, the cactus and all different looks and all combined here. It's kind of like a biosphere with all different kinds of life and things like that. And down below this base, he's given himself plenty of room to work with his farms. He kind of learned from Season 5, he didn't want to limit himself with the quadrants that he had, so he built all this stuff down on the island below. He's got all the farms that he could need for just his blocks and things like that, and I think he really ended up liking the design of this base and how practical it ended up being. Now we're moving on to his Season 7 base, and this one is absolutely insane. This is his tour when he was using RTX, and it looks so good when you're actually looking at it with this shader on. The heart up top, everything just looks so cool. I like that he actually decided to make this base alive. It's a very different idea and very cool. He of course based this base off of a Vesco design. If you've ever seen Vesco's megabase, that one is very cool. It's in the water, and this one he built with a completely different block palette and center, and I really liked how the design turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.